Hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about some upcoming 2025 releases, specifically books coming out in the next 3 months, January, February and March. I think I'm going to make this a quarterly video series every 3 months that I think sound interesting and I might be picking up, and maybe you should pick up too. Starting with January, we have Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. I have a hold at the library and I'm second in line. Do you hear those birds? They're not stopping. Okay. I'm second in line at the library, so if the library gets more than 1 hold, I will be one of the first. Witchcraft for Wayward Girls is a story about these troubled teenage girls that get pregnant and their parents are not happy and they don't want it to make their families look bad, I guess, so they send their girls away to this place for wayward girls where they wait out their pregnancy and get the baby taken off them. This book is set in the 70s, I'm pretty sure, which is an interesting setting that I'm looking forward to reading. I think these girls probably get mistreated at this place, and so they find a book on witchcraft and I think they learn a thing or two from it. It sounds interesting to me. I like stories with magic in, and I think this is an interesting setup for a book. Next we have At the Bottom of the Garden by Camilla Bruce. This is giving kind of practical magic vibes. I don't know for sure if that's what it's going to be like, but it says a murderess becomes the guardian of 2 very unusual girls in this mesmerizing gothic novel. Clara Woods is a killer and perfectly fine with it too. So what if she takes a couple of lives to make her own a little bit better? At the bottom of her garden is a flower bed, long, overgrown, where her late husband rests in peace, or so she always thought. Then the girls arrive. Lily and Violet are her nieces, recently orphaned after their affluent parents died. In accordance with their parents' will, the sisters are to go to their closest relative, who just so happened to be Clara. Despite having no interest in children, Clara agrees to take them, hoping to get her hands on some of the girls' assets. There's only one problem. Violet can see the dead man at the bottom of the garden. She can see all of Clara's ghosts and call them back into existence. Soon Clara is plagued by her victims and at war with the gifted girls in her care. Lily and Violet have become a liability and know far more than they should. When I said practical magic vibes, I meant the killing a man and having him buried in the garden. Probably going to be darker than that, considering there are children involved. Oh, that was the other thing, and also the child being able to see the man. That was the other thing that reminded me of practical magic, but that one sounds interesting. That's all for January. There are more books coming out, obviously, but these are just the ones that I found interesting. So moving on to February, we have Listen to Your Sister by Nina Vale. I was really interested in this one because all the buzzwords are things that I'm interested in. For fans of Jordan Peele's films, so Us, I love Us. Stranger Things. Was this a Stranger Things mug? And The Other Black Girl, which I have that book, but I haven't read it. Listen to Your Sister is a laugh out loud, deeply terrifying and big-hearted speculative horror novel. 25-year-old Carla Williams is struggling since becoming guardian to her brother, Jamie. Carla is overwhelmed and tired of being the one who makes sacrifices to keep the family together. Jamie, full of good-natured 16-year-old recklessness, is usually off fighting for what matters to him or getting into mischief. Dre, their brother, promised he would help raise Jamie, but now the ink is dry on the paperwork, and in classic middle child fashion, he's off doing his own thing. And through it all, the nightmare never stops haunting Carla. Reoccurring images of her brothers dying that she is powerless to stop. When Jamie's actions at a protest spiral out of control, the siblings must go on the run, taking refuge in a remote cabin. Also, I love on the run things. I used to want to pack a bag for going on the run. I don't know, it's pretty nerdy, but whatever. I just love on the run things. This just really intrigues me. And the remote cabin looks like it belongs on a slasher movie poster rather than an Airbnb, which I mean, I like Scream. I'm not the biggest fan of all slashers, but I like the idea of them. The siblings now face a new threat where their lives and reality hang in the balance. Their sister always warned them about her nightmares. They really should have listened. So that just hit a lot of my buzzwords. I'm excited for that one. It sounds really interesting. I have a hold on that for the library as well, but I think I'm number 6 in line, so I probably won't get to read it in February. Then we have a book called Reanimated Love by Kevin L. Williams. This is a short book. It's under 300 pages, and it's Frankenstein-esque. Elizabeth Lavenza is a tortured woman living alone in a crumbling estate. Haunted by her father's death, she is an outcast ridiculed for her appearance and otherworldly abilities. Tambora is a reanimated creation, hunted as a monster and tormented for being different. He longs to find peace amid the harshness of the world. When Elizabeth discovers the injured giant on her doorstep, what begins as a mystery soon blossoms into a love that will transcend death, life, and death again. A true gothic romance, Reanimated Love tells the story of a timeless love between two lost souls reaching out. I just love Frankenstein so much, and if I'm going to like a romance, let it be a gothic romance, because that's what would get me. I think it sounds really nice. A tragic love story between two people that are different. They're not your usual pretty, popular, conventionally attractive people. They are different and outcasts, and I think that sounds nice. Then we have Hungerstone by Kat Dunn, and let me be so honest right now, the cover drew me in. I love cover like this. I don't know, Victorian, I don't know exactly what you call those, but this is a Carmilla retelling, so I have to read Carmilla first. I don't want to read a retelling without reading the original source material. I'm still interested, so I'm still going to talk about it. Hungerstone is a thrillingly seductive sapphic romance for fans of S.T. Gibson's A Dowry of Blood. Lenore is the wife of steel magnate Henry, but 10 years into their marriage, the relationship has soured and no child has arrived to fill the distance growing between them. Henry's ambitions take them out of London and to the imposing Nethershore Manor in the countryside, where Henry aims to host a hunt with society's finest. Lenore keeps a terrible secret from the last time her husband hunted, and though they never speak of it, it haunts their marriage to this day. The preparations for the event take a turn when a carriage accident near their remote home brings the mysterious Carmilla into Lenore's life. Carmilla, who is weak and pale during the day but vibrant at night. Carmilla, who stirs up a hunger deep within Lenore. Soon, girls from local villages begin to fall sick before being consumed by a bloody hunger. Torn between regaining her husband's affection and Camilla's ever-growing presence, Lenore begins to unravel her past, and in doing so uncovers a darkness in her household that will place her at terrible risk. Hungerstone is a compulsive feminist reworking of Carmilla, the book that inspired Dracula. You'll probably notice a lot of these are kind of gothic. Briefly, I'll talk about Emily Wilde 3, Compendium of Lost Tales or something like that. I've only read the first one, but I'm planning on reading the second one this year, so I'm putting the third one on this list just to motivate myself to read the second, knowing that the third comes out this year. It's the third book in a series, so I can't really go into details about it. I'm sure we all know Emily Wilde is a book about fairies, fair folk, studying them, things going wrong. They're very tricky to deal with, so things go wrong, and I don't know, it's a cozy sort of fantasy romance with fae. This next one is confusing because it says the very end of January, but it also says March or February. So I'm just going to put it in the February section, and that is The Lamb by Lucy Rose. And this one says a folk tale, a horror story, a love story, and enchantment. Margot and Mama have lived by the forest since Margot can remember. When Margot is not at school, they spend quiet days together in the cottage, waiting for strangers to knock on their door. Strays, Mama calls them. Mama loves the strays. She feeds them wine, keeps them warm. Then she satisfies her burning appetite by picking apart their bodies. But Mama's want is stronger than her hunger sometimes, and when a white-toothed stray named Eden turns up in the heart of a snowstorm, little Margot must confront the shifting dynamics of her family, untangle her own desires, and make her own bid for freedom. With this gothic coming-of-age tale, debut novelist Lucy Rose explores how women swallow their anger, desire, and animalistic instincts. Cannibalism. I do enjoy the idea of cannibalism, I can't lie. It doesn't always work for me, but maybe this one will. The last one for February that I have is Victorian Psycho by Virginia Fato. It's only 208 pages. It's a gruesome and gleeful new novel that probes the psyche of a bloodthirsty governess. Winifred Notty arrives at Insore House, prepared to play the perfect Victorian governess. She'll dutifully tutor her charges, Drusilla and Andrew, tell them bedtime stories, and only joke about eating children. But the longer Winifred spends within the estate's dreary confines, and the more she learns of the perversions and pathetic preoccupations of the Pounds family, the more trouble she has sticking to her plan. Whether creeping across the moonlit lawns in her undergarments, or gently tormenting the house staff, Winifred struggles at every turn to stifle the horrid compulsions of her past. When her chillingly dark imagination breaches the feeble boundary of reality on Christmas morning, Winifred is finally ready to deliver on her generous gifts. Sort of a dark comedy novel set in Victorian times. I'm not sure if that one's going to land for me, but I will give it a go. I have quite a few for March. The first one being Ashes of August Manor by Blaine Daigle. It says, for fans of The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor, Noelle, a tragedy-ridden hospice worker with a unique connection to death, accepts a job caring for the dying patriarch of the reclusive August family at their lakefront manor just outside the town of Bell River, Oregon. The house does not have electricity, and the eccentric nature of the family is displayed through the grotesque artwork that lines the walls of the manor. As Noelle wrestles with her own struggles with understanding her connection to death, she is also plunged headfirst into the dark mystery surrounding the August family, and a boy unable to speak but clearly terrified of something. But above all, she must uncover the answers behind the ashen footprints she finds all over the house at night, and the withered figure she sees looming at the tree line across the lake. This is just another gothic novel set at a manor. I'm clearly a sucker for that. It sounds really intriguing to me. I'm so looking forward to that one, and I hope that I love it. Then we have a new book from Ava Reed, the author of A Study in Drowning, Fable for the End of the World. Last of Us meets The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes in this standalone dystopian romance about sacrifice, survival, and love that risks everything. This is a young adult, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I think this is a young adult, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna love it. Ineza lives with her brother in a half-sunken town where they scrape by running a taxidermy shop. Unbeknownst to Ineza, their cruel and indolent mother has accrued an enormous debt, enough to qualify one of her children for Ceres's live-streamed assassination spectacle, The Lamb's Gauntlet. Melano, I don't know how to pronounce all these names, is a Ceres assassin, trained to track and kill the sacrificial lambs. The product of neural reconditioning and physiological alteration, she is a living weapon known for her cold brutality and deadly beauty. She has never failed to assassinate one of her marks. When Ineza learns that her mother has offered her as a sacrifice, at first she despairs. The gauntlet is always a bloodbath for the impoverished debtors. But she's had years of practice surviving in the apocalyptic wastes, and with the help of her hunter brother, she might stand a chance of staying alive. For Melano, this is a game she can't afford to lose. Despite her reputation for mercilessness, she is haunted by painful flashbacks. After her last gauntlet, where she broke down on live stream. What? Okay. She desperately needs redemption. As Mel pursues Ineza across the wasteland, both girls begin to question everything. Ineza wonders if there's more to life than survival, while Mel wonders if she's capable of more than killing. And both wonder if, against all odds, they might be falling in love. The Hunger Games, but maybe in the future? I don't know, it sounds futuristic to me, and it looks it too, the cover. But maybe it's not. But I'm not sure how that one's going to land for me. But then I have The Undoing of Violet Claiborne by Emily Critchley. It's 1938. Gillian Larkin is used to going unnoticed, until she is sent away to school and befriended by her roommate, the vibrant and spirited Violet Claiborne. As the Christmas holidays approach, Jilly can't believe her luck when Violet invites her to spend them at her home, the crumbling Thornley Hall. At Thornley, Jilly is dazzled by her family's faded grandeur, and above all, by Violet's beguiling older sisters who seem to accept her as one of their own. But following a terrible accident in the house's grounds, Jilly begins to realize the Claiborne sisters aren't quite what she thought they were, and if she's to survive in their world, she may have to become just like them. Captivating novel of family secrets, desperate ambition, and deepest betrayal set against the winter of 1938. It's an irresistible new mystery. It's really giving me The Christmas Guest vibes. I read that recently and I liked that. I'll give that a go and let you know how I feel about it. Then I have Blood on Her Tongue by Johanna van Veen. It says, I'm in your blood and you are in mine. The Netherlands, 1887. Lucy's twin sister Sarah is unwell. She refuses to eat, mumbles nonsensically, and is increasingly obsessed with a centuries-old corpse recently discovered on her husband's grand estate. The doctor has diagnosed her with temporary insanity caused by a fever of the brain. To protect her twin from a terrible fate in a lunatic asylum, Lucy must unravel the mystery surrounding her sister's condition, but it's clear her twin is hiding something. Then again, Lucy is harboring secrets of her own too. Then the worst happens. Sarah's behavior takes a turn for the strange. She becomes angry and hungry. Lucy soon comes to suspect that something's trying to possess her beloved sister. Or is it madness? As Sarah changes before her eyes, Lucy must reckon with the dark, monstrous truth or risk losing her forever. I think this is a vampire story, which is exciting because I love a vampire book. And the very last book that I have that I am personally interested in, that I've heard of, I'm sure there are more that I could be interested in, these are just the ones I know of, is This Book Will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead. This is a long book, nearly 500 pages. It's from the author of In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, and this is a story of 5 amateur sleuths whose hunt for an elusive killer catapults them into dangers the world watches. It's the most famous crime in modern history. I love how my neighbors have to do vacuuming right now. But only she knows the true story. After the unexpected death of her father, college student Jane Sharp longs for a distraction from her grief. I read ahead. She becomes obsessed with true crime, befriending armchair detectives who teach her how to hunt killers from afar. In this morbid internet underground, Jane finds friendship, purpose, and even glory. So when news of the shocking deaths of 3 college girls in Delphine, Idaho, takes the world by storm, and sleuths everywhere race to solve the crimes, Jane and her friends are determined to beat them. But the case turns out to be stranger than anyone expected. Details don't add up, the police are cagey, and there seems to be more media hype and internet theorizing than actual evidence. When Jane and her sleuths take a step closer, they find that every answer only begs more questions. Something's not adding up, and they begin to suspect their killer might be smarter and more prolific than any they've faced before. Placing themselves in the center of the story starts to feel more and more like walking into a trap. Told 1 year after the astounding events that concluded the case and left the world reeling, when Jane has finally decided to break her silence about what really happened, she tells the true story of the Delphine massacres, and what she has to confess will shock even the most seasoned true crime fans. That is all the books that I have that I'm interested in that are coming out in the next 3 months. I will do this video again in April or the end of March. I'm sorry if you can hear the vacuuming. It just seems to be getting louder. It's been going the entire time. Hopefully it's not too annoying. Let me know if you were interested in any of these books, if you were already interested in them, or if you didn't hear from them until maybe I spoke about them. I'm very interested to know. I will see you in my next video. I hope you enjoyed. Bye guys.